Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, here with some day of the fight thoughts on Saul Alvarez versus Matthew Hatton. Now, before I go further, let me just say the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. You know, when I see fights like this, where the favorite is anywhere from a minus 900 to a minus 1800 favorite, I'm hesitant to wade into the water because I'm really more of a gambler than I am a boxing fan. And let me just say, betting on minus 900 favorites and minus 1800 favorites, in other words, betting $900 to win 100 or $1,800 to win 100 is not the way to make money in the long run. Trust me, you need a better rate of return than 10% on winning fights to offset the losses every gambler is going to encounter betting on sports. And so, if you're someone who gravitates toward these overwhelming favorites, then all I can say is you're leading a riskier life than I am. I've been online, I've looked at countless videos where people are saying, hey, I think Alvarez is going to win. All I can say is understand Alvarez is fighting in his backyard. I used to live in Orange County many years ago. It's going to be a very pro Alvarez crowd. Understand, too, that this fight really does symbolize the worst in boxing because somehow these two men, with not that much experience fighting at 154, are actually fighting for the belt at 154, the WBC version, right? And keep in mind, neither's going to be at 154. Uh, this fight was actually contracted at a catch weight of 150. So let me just say, shame on the WBC. They're watering down the sport. Let me also say, too, I know much is going to be made about Saul Alvarez being the youngest or one of the younger 154 champions. All I could say to that is really, when Buster Douglas took Mike Tyson's title, he actually had to fight Mike Tyson to get the title. Maybe I'm an OG, maybe I'm old school, but I just don't understand how, guys can be fighting for belts at catch weights. And I don't understand how Matthew Hatton, who has had a decent career, somehow now is actually fighting for the 154-pound title. And let's be real. Saul Alvarez hasn't fought Miguel Cotto, who has one of the belts at 154. He hasn't fought Cornelius Brundage, who has another one of the belts at 154. And for those keeping track, keep in mind both of those guys are Emmanuel Stewart fighters. It just seems to me to be ridiculous that he somehow is fighting for the belt at 154 without having fought the top 154 guys. Now, all of that said, and knowing that I'm not someone, even if I think Saul Alvarez is going to win the fight, who would touch a minus 900 or a minus 1800, the play, I think, has a decent risk reward. And keep in mind, I'm trying to beat the casino. I'm not trying to be right. I'm not interested in winning percentage. I'm interested in take home money in the long term, right? The play I like is the over 7.5 rounds at a minus 150, right? In other words, you would have to bet 15 to win 10. But if you look at the two fighters, Saul Alvarez, as talented as he is, really only has one knockout punch, in my opinion, and that is a left hook. It's the punch that he used to stop Carlos Baldomir, right? He's not a guy who has other punches that you have to look out for. He's not Shane Mosley, who, Fernando Vargas fans remember, stopped Vargas in the rematch with a left hook, right? One punch knockout power with the left hook. Then, of course, as Floyd Mayweather fans remember, almost stopped Floyd Mayweather with a straight right hand, right? Shane Mosley has a multiplicity of one punch, show stopping knockout punches. That's not Saul Alvarez. I believe Saul Alvarez is literally a left hook. That's it. And he hides that left hook behind a jab. I haven't seen the show stopping power in Saul Alvarez's right hand. Right? If you have, I would encourage you to leave, comments on this video, directing everyone to the fight in which Saul Alvarez has shown one punch knockout power in his right hand. In fact, if you look through Saul Alvarez's history, you're going to see that when he has stepped up against more elite competition, the Leonardo Tyner fight, for example, Lovemore Endu, these are guys who, in the fight, were able to block Saul Alvarez's left hook, right? They weren't suckered by him throwing that left hook after a jab. They were able to block the left hook. They were able to go the distance against him, right? Even Miguel Cotto's older brother, after getting dropped by Alvarez early in that fight, figured out the pattern and was able to make it to the ninth round. Now, when you look at Matthew Hatton's history, let me just say, Matthew Hatton is a survivor. He has not been knocked out since 2003. And this is a guy who has fought people like Lovemore Endu himself, right? Let me also say, too, that size-wise, understand, and I know Canelo missed weight. I understand that on fight night, Canelo is likely to outweigh Matthew Hatton by a wide margin, right? But understand that Matthew Hatton is 5'8.5". Canelo is 5'9". In other words, other than the actual weight, there's no big size difference between these two. Matthew Hatton is not going to be looking up at Canelo. He's not going to be looking down at Canelo. He's going to have Canelo right in front of him. I believe a skilled vet like Matthew Hatton knows about Canelo's left hook. All he has to do is look at the Baltimore tape. And I believe that skilled fighters like Matthew Hatton are going to take away your 2 or 3 top weapons. If Matthew Hatton takes away Canelo's left hook, I don't believe Canelo has anything to knock Matthew Hatton out with. And I believe that this fight will make it past the midway point of the 8th round. That's what a 7.5 over means. You have to get by the 1 minute and 30-second mark of the 8th round. And let me just say, the reason I'm fooling around with the over-under is simply because the odds on the fight are just simply not worthwhile, right? Minus 900s, I'll leave that to others. If someone online feels that they're making a bold prediction, taking a guy who's a 9-1 to 18-1 favorite, then I tip my hat to you. I'm just interested in risk reward and making a real profit after the fight. And so I believe in this fight, I think it's going to go to the past the halfway mark of the 8th round. I like the over in this one. Let me also say this too. Just in terms of a possible upset, when you see a young guy like Saul Alvarez, and he has a multiplicity of skills, and he has a great knockout punch, but he's going for his first title, right? The WBC has called this a title shot. And he's in a high-pressure atmosphere where you're going to have a lot of casual sports fans in the arena who don't understand that it's not all about Saul Alvarez, that his opponent also views this as the opportunity of a lifetime. All I'm saying is that many people in boxing history, many young prodigies, have wilted under that kind of intense media spotlight. And let me also say, too, Matthew Hatton, if you get an older fighter, whether it's Matthew Hatton, whether it's Bernard Hopkins, if you get an older fighter and they look on tape and they reach the conclusion after looking at you on tape that you are not as good on tape as you are in the media, And if Matthew Hatton is able to control that left hook, all I'm saying is this fight could be much more competitive than any of us want to believe. Matthew Hatton is a quality individual. He fights top flight competition. He is a survivor. I'm expecting you're going to see him hide his chin behind his shoulder. You're going to see him rolling away. He's going to be rolling to his right. He's going to be rolling away from, in fact, strike that. He'll be rolling to his left. He'll be rolling away from Canelo's left hook. And if this fight makes it into, let's say, the seventh, eighth, ninth rounds, and Matthew Hatton's still in this, it's going to get interesting. Let me also make another point, too. Carlos Baldomir made a mistake against Saul Alvarez. He was always the aggressor in that fight because that's who Carlos Baldomir is. He always came forward, right? He never stopped and thought to himself, wow, what happens if I force my young opponent to take the lead? Here, Matthew Hatton would actually serve himself well if he thinks it through and if he realizes that he's better off fighting Canelo in the middle of the ring than he is constantly coming forward like Baldomir did, giving Canelo an opportunity to time that left hook. What he should do is he should take a look at Bernard Hopkins against Jean Pascal. The great Hopkins did an excellent job of keeping Pascal guessing at when he was going to take a step forward. That's what Matthew Hatton has to do if he wants to win the fight. He can't allow Canelo to time him because Canelo's left hook is one of the best left hooks in boxing. What he has to do is keep Canelo guessing on whether he's going to come forward, exactly what he's going to do, and at all times he needs to be vigilant for that left hook. If he can keep Canelo guessing, then come in and throw lead punches and get back out. If he can fight an ambush fight on Saul Alvarez, then I think he has an outside shot. I'm not going to predict an upset, far from it, but what I am going to say is I like the over in this fight, over 7.5 rounds at minus 150. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments for me here on YouTube. And of course, I hope you visit us at gamblersadvisory.com, both the website and the page on Facebook. Thanks for watching.